Hey team, Leo here. We are doing a post-mortem on this member request. Mr. Frank Gray is a great member. He's a retired cardiac surgeon, I believe. Has been a member for a long time. A really good guy, has always valued us. But he was very upset the other day with the solution that we delivered him, mainly for how we handled it. The solution actually was a pretty good one. It's just that we did not do it the Neighborhood Nerds way. We didn't follow the Gizmo circle of care, and we just kind of haphazardly threw things together and didn't do the stuff we were supposed to do. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. The cool thing about mHelp Desk over here and the systems we use is we can see chronological history of what happened here. So Annette created this request 22 days ago on February 6, 2018 at 2:49 p.m. She created this, and it was assigned to her because she created it. She removed herself and then assigned it to Matthew 22 days ago. So within a few minutes, she created it, removed herself, and assigned it to Matthew. Changed it to open support residential scheduled. So I'm guessing this was she talked to Frank, got this information, and indicated that Frank's internet was down and somebody needs to go do something. But one of the problems I see here is there's no time entry for Annette. There should have been a time entry saying what she did here as part of this support request. Something here about Frank called in and I created the support request and put it into this area, and it took me this much time. It took me 10 minutes to do all this work, or 5 minutes or whatever. Miklos was, let's see, 22 days. It was in residential scheduled. I don't actually know if it was actually scheduled, though. Let's look here. It looks like Matthew did get scheduled for the same day. So let's see. This is the 7th. No, Matthew got scheduled for the 8th, it looks like, somehow. So the 8th at 10 a.m. Maybe Annette or somebody was talking to Frank and wanted to go ahead and schedule this because this was considered an emergency. The level priority stayed a 1, though, so it wasn't really considered an emergency. It doesn't look like it was just it just got scheduled maybe ahead of some other things. So we need to be careful about that. Also, we don't have any technology on it, so we don't know what we're talking about of the existing system. We need to make sure we add all of the components of the existing system that are related to this problem. So we'd want to put in the modem and the router and everything else. Now, Miklos gets involved on this day, the February 8th at 4:30 p.m. Looks like he was scheduled to go out, but maybe he didn't go out, and Matthew got scheduled. Maybe they were going back and forth here about scheduling it. And then looks like Nerd Visit was actually performed on the 8th, which is weird because is this the 8th? No, that's the 7th. So the Nerd Visit was actually performed on the 8th there, where this message was sent. Matthew went out. So this was Matthew's time, 2:08 at 10 o'clock. So let's look at that. Where is that? 2:08 at 10 o'clock. Okay, so that was Matthew. That's what all this was leading up to. Another thing that I've noticed here is it never got changed to in progress. We have a status of in progress while we're working on things. So you need to get it into in progress every time you're working on it actively. That gets it out of the way of the other nerds. So 10 people aren't going and trying to grab it at the same time and trying to work on it, and then you're losing your notes and stuff because people are saving differently and everything. So that's why we created the in progress status. So make sure you use that. Matthew went out and said Frank gave him a tour of the house. He showed him where the problems were. Looks like Matthew prescribed a solution on the fly. If this is our normal solution if there was like something that Matthew saw here that indicated this is the solution we would use, it's not any other solution that we have in our wheelhouse. We just we've got something that identifies Frank's house as a perfect solution a perfect fit for the Linksys Velop system. So if we don't have that, then we just kind of shot from the hip there saying, this is the solution, I think. So we want to make sure that we have standardized solution, and then we've got like the questions that we ask to say, how do we know a mesh system with these 3 devices is the thing that we want to use in this situation? And, I don't want to hear from anybody sending me slacks or calling me and telling me, well, this is why I thought this, or this is why I did this. None of that matters. We have to have, like we talk about all the time, you have to have something written. So there has to be a written document that you followed, because we don't do anything without a process. We keep talking about that all the time. And I know none of us do anything without a process first. So there was some document, I'm sure, that Matthew was reviewing that told him the Linksys Velop system was the one to do. He also told Frank that he would write up a proposal and send it to him. Now, I don't see any attachments of a proposal, so I'm assuming there was no proposal created and sent to Frank. So, look here, 6 days later. Yeah, 6 days later, Frank called in and said, hey, what's going on? I'd been told that, we'd be ready to go by the first of the week. So I'm guessing back here when Matthew and Frank were talking about this, Frank got the impression that, I'm not sure, because he should have been waiting for a proposal from Matthew, but somehow he got the impression of timing that it would be ready within just a few days, it looks like. No proposal created, no other notes other than Matthew said he would write a proposal, but it got set to the residential queue, which doesn't really make sense. That should be, when we're doing something like this, it should be not in the residential queue to create the proposal. Let's see, what would we put that in though? This might be something where we're doing proposals and we don't have a known thing that we know how to do. So what would we do here? Probably not admin, probably not purchasing. There's probably some kind of sales function or something that we need here, or something that says, this is a project, or maybe it should have just stayed in progress until this proposal was written. Well, there's probably some research. So there's something we should have done here in between these steps that we need to document so that we understand what we're supposed to do next. So that's something that everybody should stop and say, hey, Leo, Cliff, we don't have a process for how we're supposed to do this. Please make that very clear to us. It was assigned to the support nerds automatically because it was changed to the residential queue. Nothing happened to it for 6 days. Frank called in and said, hey, what's the deal? Matthew said, I visited with him and told him some stuff, but I never did tell him a time. Also, we haven't ordered the stuff. So, and I don't understand this, like why we think we should have ordered this already if we haven't submitted a proposal. Frank hasn't agreed to it and sent it back to us, but we're deciding to go ahead and order some hardware. Let's see. Sent it to order needed when we decided 6 days later that the customer's mad, so we need to go ahead and order his stuff. And then Lou purchased it. No proposal, no approval, no sign-offs, anything, but went ahead and purchased it. Went back into residential queue because the stuff arrived. I'm guessing it doesn't say that it arrived anywhere here, but there should be a step in here that says that it arrived. And and then there should be some attachments here of like the information about it arriving, so that we have all of that in here. And let's see what happens next. Looks like where was this? Lou ordered it, went back into the queue. Items arrived and ready to be installed. It never did say that they arrived, but somebody figured out that they showed up. Somebody changed it to contact member. That's nice. Miklos changed it to contact member because the stuff had arrived. We don't have any notes about contacting the member and scheduling anything. There's nothing in here. Somehow it got to scheduled without any information about talking to the member or scheduling it. And what else happened? Lou created an invoice. I'm not sure where this invoice came from. $674.24. Could be off of, let's see, an hour of nerd time, $50, and then parts with a markup. So these parts cost us like $440. So it should have been $500, $550 if that's what it actually took to do this. I don't know where the first nerd visit is though, because there was a nerd visit for the initial problem that's not being charged for some reason, didn't get recorded. Apparently we did a free nerd visit. We ordered parts without approval, and then we didn't bill for any time of going out to actually install the equipment. We didn't create a proposal. Just a bunch of issues here. Matthew says that he installed it and it looks good. It's ready for follow-up. Not sure if anybody called Frank and talked through this. Maybe that happened, but I don't see any notes here saying, called the member, everything was cool, and he signed off on it and said, love these guys, love the nerds, it was perfect, the cost that you guys quoted me was perfect, and you came in under budget, so that was awesome. And then we billed his card for the $650 somewhere in here, I'm guessing. I don't know where we billed his card. We need to document that we billed the card, and But if we'd had this conversation with Frank, we probably would have corrected some stuff back here. If we just done any of this right, we probably would have been okay. So now what are we doing? We're crediting back money and changing all of the pricing so that we're just saying it's $550 for the $500 for the hardware and $50 for one of the nerd visits. And I guess we're writing off one of the nerd visits. So, the thing that I would want to see is a consistent process, consistent delivery, so that we're always doing the same thing over and over again, and our members love us, and it doesn't matter who does it. The members just are getting the service they deserve. And we can't skip steps. Like if we don't follow processes, this is what happens, because a lot of us think, dude, I know how to do this, I don't need to pull out a process and follow it. I'm sure a lot of pilots think that, and that's why they don't go through checklists every single time they fly a plane. Well, wait a minute. No, they do. They go through a checklist every single time they fly a plane. No matter if they've flown for 47 years, they still pull out a checklist and they go, is this good? Is that good? Is this good? Is that good? Is this good? Is that good? And they check everything off. So it's frustrating when we make members upset, and because we're just not following rules, and we're just not following a process, and we're just forgetting steps, and we're skipping things, and we're getting the job done. But that's not what this is about. It's about a whole lot more than just getting the job done. So please learn from this, and let's make it better. Let's stop everything we're doing, and if we don't have processes, let's just come to a screeching halt. We can't order any more equipment because we don't have a process. So from now until we have a process that says this is how we do it, we are not ordering any more stuff for members. When they call in and ask us, we're gonna say, sorry, we don't know how to do proposals. We don't know how to like get this all organized and ordered and okayed by you. So we are not allowed to give you a solution right now because Leo said that we are not allowed. And that's fine, because they're going to call me anyway. They're going to call me either on the front end when you tell them we can't do this for you right now, or they're going to call me on the back end when we do it the wrong way. So either way, I'm going to have a phone conversation with a member that's not happy. So please work with Lou and Cliff and me, whoever, probably just Lou and Cliff, and get this thing created so you have a process to follow that you guys say, cool, this is the process and we're going to follow it forever and ever and ever. Amen. All right.